This week's Maclean's magazine looks at the real world of teenage bullying. Dear Amanda Todd has become the face of this issue that I don't think is going to go away until we see change. The article cites a recent study by Plymouth University finding 80% of respondents aged 16 to 24 used a smartphone or the web for sexual purposes. Consumer Reports, in a recent study, found that 7.5 million children with Facebook accounts were younger than 13, and that the vast majority of those accounts were unsupervised by the user's parents. Another study found that 87% of the kids that are surfing the internet do not have parental rules. Well, we're going to start a fresh week of video insights with a policeman who spends a lot of time with students as school liaison officer.
We know that Facebook has a team that monitors for suicidal threat. What do you do when you get tipped off that a student is putting suicidal ideation or plans or methods on Facebook?
If somebody calls the police and says, hey, my son was on Facebook, got this message from this kid, well, and it doesn't give you an address and a phone number. So they have to call the school resource officer, if you will, in our situation, and get an address so that the police department can go to that house to make sure and check the well-being on that person who maybe had threatened their own life. Most times it's just a knock on the door and the parents answer, and they're as surprised as anyone, because unless they're monitoring the situation, you know, with their kids' media that they're always on.
We recently talked with a mother who found her daughter who had completed suicide by hanging herself, and she said she didn't monitor her daughter's social media. What do you tell parents about that?
Get in their stuff. Meddle. Be annoying. Be a parent. You can't be their friend. You have to know what they're doing. They're not going to be happy with you because they think you're intruding on their life, but if you find something and it happened to be, oh, you know, I'm going to take my life tomorrow, and you caught that and you saved their life for that brief moment that maybe they were depressed or something was really bad, you know, you saved their life. You can be their friend later on with their grandkids. So I say get involved in it. Read their stuff. I think that's really important.
The Maclean's article this week concludes with a sobering statement. Parents need to understand that for the first time in history, their kids are more likely to get in trouble in the presumed safety of their own homes than they are in the outside world. The challenge for us as parents is daunting. One of the things we did in our home was to put the computer in the kitchen where the screen was visible to anyone. My husband restricted the amount of time and time of day that our children could be on the internet. If Richard had discovered that their history online was deleted, they were cut off. Now, years ago, Yorkie and Johnson did a study for Focus on the Family on what keeps families strong through the generations. And the book is pretty thick. So they distilled their findings in a dart target, basically. Picture 3 rings. The outer ring was behavior, and sometimes that goes really wonky. And then the inner ring was spiritual, and we know that some of our children are just not showing an interest in church life or spiritual things, and that can be a disconnect in the home. But the bullseye, the most important thing to keep strong, even if the other 2 rings fall apart, is relationship. We've got to stay connected to our kids and what they're doing and what they're thinking and what they're feeling. I know it's tough. I got a son who responds in 1 or 2 words, usually at the most. We want to help you in all the ways that we can. Watch for these segments with Dr. Jerry Johnson this week. The parents, professionals, and young people have such meaningful insights. And the book we're offering is a timely resource to equip all of us to note the signs of distress and know what to do about it. We're going to send it to you for your financial gift in any amount to this ministry. We're praying, too, that you will be filled with His mighty, glorious strength so that you can keep going no matter what happens. We want to hear from you. Do remember that our prayer lines are always available and that God cares even more than we do. He promises to answer when we cry out to Him.